So the FBI has taken over the lead in this case in Boston.
If you can hear me, I've lost my connection with you, so I'm calling back.
Okay.
Okay, I've got you back
okay,
again.
Great. Can you hear me? You good? Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can.
Okay, great. Again, we're with Clint VanZant, a profiler with the FBI for some 25 years. All right, talking about the Boston case, the FBI has now taken over. They're the lead investigators on this thing. How well do they work with other agencies? And because we've had several of these incidents now, they obviously have a lot to go on, and I guess all that probably helps eventually create this profile that may help find who did this.
Yeah, well, the agencies are going to work very good together. In just about every major city in the United States today, we have what we call a joint terrorism task force headed up by the FBI, but other federal, city, county, state law enforcement agencies all contribute people to it, with the federal government usually paying the majority of the bill. In this case, there's a JTTF in Boston. The Boston Police, the Massachusetts State Police, the FBI, and other agencies work very closely together. By designating the FBI as the lead agency, that simply says somebody's got to make the ultimate decision, and it facilitates the FBI handling the out-of-state leads, the international leads, and it helps to bring the resources of the federal government to coordinate. Realize every piece of evidence has to be logged in: photographs, shrapnel, pictures taken at the crime scene, interviews. The FBI has a tremendous computer capability to put this information in and be able to retrieve it again. That's going to be very helpful for a major investigation like this.
I want to go back to something that you said just a little bit ago. You said it wouldn't surprise you if this was an international type person, perhaps a foreigner who may have perpetrated this event. Is that based on just the fact that you don't see bombs like this typically in America when it comes to domestic terrorism?
Yeah, if we saw smaller pipe bombs used, that would be more of a signature of a homegrown domestic terrorist. But again, we've seen people like the Army Major Nadel Hassan, who did all the mass murders at Fort Hood, Texas. We've seen other individuals who are either natural U.S. or naturalized U.S. citizens who've fallen under the influence of radical Islamic fundamentalism. Plus, we've seen the Timothy McVeighs and the Eric Rudolphs, who are the lone wolf, single interest type of domestic terrorists. So that's why the law enforcement, the FBI, the Joint Terrorism Task Force, they have to keep all of their options open. Anything's on the table right now. You may have one piece of information that starts you in one direction. That's fine, but we don't want to say who was this person ultimately and try to build the evidence to support that. Conversely, we want the evidence to take us to the person, and that's what's going to happen in this case.
And just to wrap up, what does some of the evidence tell you about the statement this person was trying to make? I mean, they didn't use C4, which can be a lot more explosive. They didn't use ammonium nitrate, like what you said, Timothy McVeigh, when he made such a massive statement. Sure. What message do you think this person was trying to send here?
Well, whatever, and that's an interesting aspect, whatever message he was trying to send has really become lost. In number one, when you see these patriots, Americans, internationals, who instead of running from an explosion, like citizens did what first responders do. They run toward danger as opposed to run away. Makes you proud to be an American to see something like that. Whoever did this killed a child and injured other children. Whatever statement they were trying to make has become lost, number one, in the positive response of Americans and internationals, and number two, in the horrific act that they actually committed. If somebody wants to stand up and take credit for this, we really have to question their sanity, not only for what they did, but for what they take credit for.
And just one more thing, because something else just came to mind. Do you have any idea how long it's going to be before we're able to kind of hone in on a suspect in this case? Is this something that we're talking about a couple days, or is this something we're talking about that could be a couple of months or longer?
Well, we realize in the Oklahoma City bombing, That case was really solved because of a good state trooper who caught Timothy McVeigh driving out of town with that license plate hanging off the back of his car. All it takes is one break like that. All it takes is one citizen to call in to say, hey, you know, I saw a neighbor of mine bringing in a couple of pressure cookers a week or two ago. One little bit of information is going to break this case wide open. Look, there are less than 1 million police officers in the United States, 310 million citizens. It's usually a citizen who's aware, who sees something, who dials 911 or the FBI. That's how this case is going to get solved. Give the information to law enforcement. They'll run it down. We'll arrest this guy, and one more crazy criminal terrorist will be off the street.